the Fill the Funnel podcast with Jeff Swan
and Tom Slocum.
We're here to help you crush your targets
with tactical tips and insights you can act on today.
Don't have a fancy tech stack, a big budget, or even a huge team to lean on?
Well, it's time to get that solved today with FTF Fridays. Welcome to another amazing episode of Fill the Funnel here. With me, Tom Slocum, and my favorite co-host of all time, Jeff Swan. Today, we want to dive into something that really helps fill your funnel that isn't very utilized very often or leveraged because of lack of confidence, lack of process, understanding the whole thing, and that is asking for referrals. It is so important in the sales development world, as an account executive, anybody out there trying to fill your funnel, to take advantage of the network you've already driven. It's just like when you're, working with companies, when you've already had somebody who said yes and gave you a credit card, it's very easy to upsell, right? They've trusted you, they're understanding of you. So we want to dive into this a little bit and arm you with a way to ask for referrals. Right now, the pain point that a lot of people find is that 11% of sales reps even ask for referrals. Like, can you believe that, Jeff?
Ridiculous.
11%.
It's ridiculous.
It's so easy, right? And I'll play devil's advocate, right?
Yeah.
I wasn't somebody that asked for referrals, especially on the sales development side. I really didn't have the confidence. I really struggled with, understanding when, how, what that process looked like. I always just assumed account executives could do it, right? Like, they're the one handling the deal. They have the network with the person. All I did was source the meeting, right? So how do I go back and get business for my AE and for my company? I always let the AEs do that. But over the last year or so, you've really understood that the ones that are setting themselves a bar ahead of their competition in sales development and account executives is leveraging their pipeline. So I want to talk to you a little bit about what you've done or what you've seen in the past that's really made you successful in asking for referrals. So, first off, what is a referral? How does it work? And some background to that.
So
people that don't know.
The general overarching concept of a referral is asking somebody who you already have rapport with, if they know anybody else in their network that would be suitable for your product, solution, or company. And so the majority of people believe wholeheartedly that a referral is only for your customers. So you can only ask your customers who paid you money for referrals. And the assumption there is what you said, they already given you money, so they already like you. So why not ask them to activate their network? But what was interesting is several years back, the Aaron Ross was over at Salesforce came up with a predictable with the cold call 2.0 approach, where as part of the sales development process now, he would go into organizations and ask for referrals within the organization for the right person to speak to. So it's interesting where you take, your paying customers, you get referrals from them, and you take that concept and you go all the way at the top of the funnel when people haven't even met you before and ask them to refer you to somebody in the organization or the right person, as some of you may have heard, to get in front of the right person to speak to. So in between that spectrum is when you're looking at a sales development rep, when they've booked the meeting, the person is already in the funnel, and they have good rapport and they're interested and they're engaged and they're talking to you and your sales team. What people don't realize is that's actually a really good time to ask for referrals as well. And so unfortunately, some people, they're not allowed to do it. Right. We talked to somebody last night, Tom, that they're not allowed to. Their boss, the AEs in their organization will let them. But most organizations aren't that rigid about referrals in that stage. People just don't think about it. So instead, you can actually refer people and ask, like I said, once you book that meeting, once they've attended that discovery call, say, hey, do you know anybody else I should speak to in your network? Right? Something super simple. So the lesson here that I want to take away from all that is that is to ask early and often. So there's several different points where it makes sense to ask for referral, and usually it's after you've given some value. So again, even if it's early stage where all you've done is given somebody a key stat or some insight that they like, that's a good way place to ask for that referral.
How would you do that?
Okay, so as an
position
example, it's in response management. So we teach, so you and I, we teach response management to people. And an example would be in a sequence when somebody responds to you and says, you know what, I'm not the right person, Tom. Then literally all you do is you respond back, hey, I understand, Tom, sorry for bothering you, but do you know anybody who would be the right person at your organization that I could speak to? Okay. So that's in.
Love that. So you're talking internally and externally, right? So obviously internally, right? We know how to do that. I think a lot of people are comfortable with that, right? You email, they come back and say, hey, I'm not that person. Very easy to be like, hey, who would it be, right? I don't want to pester you, blow up your inbox. If you could help me, I'd really appreciate it. And then even dropping a name or two in your pipeline, right? I do that often to make it look like I know what I'm doing. Hey, Jeff, I understand you're not the right person. I've seen Jared or Tom also. Would they be the ideal person to speak to, or who else would it be? Then you just come with a little bit of authority. You know you're doing your job, and it gives the burden off of them, right? Because they're going to say, oh, it's Jared, or oh, it's Tom, versus you cold asking them, like, who would that be? Make up a name, say, hey, would that be Craig? And Craig doesn't even exist, right? Because they'll be prone to say, oh, no, I don't know who Craig is, but it would be Jeff. Oh, great, thank you. And then externally, it's a little bit harder, right? Because you're asking them to refer somebody that doesn't work at their company. Let's say me and you book a meeting with the company, right? You come to the meeting, everything went well, you're progressing through my pipeline. How, as a sales development, right, can I reach back out to you and say, hey, Jeff, I know you're working with us. I don't know if it's going to lead to a deal here, but I was just curious, do you know of anybody else in your network that could benefit from a partnership with what we're doing? Right,
yeah, so that's definitely
sense.
one way to go about it, is just the straight up ask, is what the way you just described it, Tom, is just the straight up ask. Do you know anybody in your network who could do this? Another kind of transition, I mean, really the straight up ask is really how you do it, but there's the transition, right? Like you could as a sales development rep take ownership of people down the funnel, even if it's a handoff, the AE has it. And it's a very smooth handoff. Everybody's happy. What you can do is actually just query your person, your prospect, and say, hey, like, how did the discovery call go? Did so and so meet your expectations? Are there any questions that are unanswered? Really care about that, because you started that relationship, and show that you want them to be successful in this process, right? So again, it's about that give first mentality, Tom. It's about giving and showing that you care, and then once you've had a good conversation there, even within that same message of a one-way email message, you still, after you've given, then you have the right to ask, right? Then you can ask, okay, hey, P.S., I was looking at other companies in your area. Do you know such and such company? Do you know anyone at this company? Right? If you can look at their network, on LinkedIn and say, okay, I saw you were connected with this person. Would you mind an introduction?
That's taken it a whole nother level. And that's impressive, right? To then, map out your connections, find where people are connected, and then driving it from there. So you listed a lot of different ways, right? Internally, externally, and then arming your network, right? Or activating your network in a way that you can find those people. Because at the end of the day, whether they buy with your company or not, they've went through the process with you. They've had an enjoyable experience, and at the end of the day, it's just asking. My favorite quote of all time is, a closed mouth don't get fed. And that's the reality of it, right? Is that's why you're not getting referral business. That's why you're not activating this channel, is because you're not even asking. And honestly, I think we need to flip it on our head. I think we need to do a better job of it, and that includes myself, of being able to leverage that, right? And empowering yourself to just simply ask a question in a good way. And I like how you led with the giving, right? Building a relationship with them, reaching out. Even throw them a $5 coffee card after they give you somebody, right? Hey, Jeff, really appreciated you forwarding me that information. Wanted to shoot you a $5 card for, a next cup of coffee on me. Thank you so much. Because those referrals can go a long way. I was reading recently, going back to the pain point that 11% of salespeople don't even ask for them. The other crazy part about it is the amount of success that comes off of asking for referrals. I was looking at it somewhere and I can't really remember, but it's like 70% higher opportunity in deals that are off of referrals. So the deal cycle is 70% more likely to drive off of a referral because, again, they trust you. They want to talk with you more. They've come off of a recommendation. So like when you think about that, you're setting yourself up for a large success. I think it was business-to-business companies with referrals, right, have a 70% higher conversion rate, and they report a 60% faster close time. Like, that's just baffling. Why are we not driving more funnel that way? Especially for SDRs, reaching out on behalf of your AEs, finding people in the pipe that you can expand out with and drive. Even a couple of those a month will provide better pipeline for you and show rate. The person will probably show up because they're coming off a referral. If somebody hit me up and said, hey, I talked to Jeff. He said you would be good to talk to in regards to this. Can we get a meeting? I'm probably going to be 80% likely to do that because I assume you vetted it out for me, right? You talk to them, you know me, you would know if I'm interested in that.
Is that, remember, the people that you're selling to, they go to conferences, they participate in forums, they comment on their friends' link, like posts and things like that. They're speaking with people that are directly in your target list, right? So like your network knows other people just like them. Right. And so you have to.
I mean, we all know everybody in sales, right? Anybody can ask us all. We're all in a silo together. Those same people running those same circles.
So they're going to know their market probably better than you. Have you ever walked into a conference as a vendor and had a conversation like, okay, hold on. I'm going to tell you a little story real quick. So I was at a conference where I was a vendor. And we had a great roundtable discussion with several people that were directly in my target audience. Okay. We had a great conversation. Everybody was engaged and happy and everything. Right. And then I go into the washroom and it's that classic. I'm in the stall and I'm hearing people talk. And it's two of the people that were on the roundtable. Yeah. And they were talking about how, wow, there are a lot of vendors this year, isn't there? So I pop out and, they had the awkward faces on and whatever else. They didn't bash anything. They didn't say anything bad. But then next thing, we had a conversation about how it's we're here to meet our peers and all that stuff. We learned some great things, but they're really there to meet their peers. So the thing is that these people have close networks and sometimes they have embarrassing stories that they don't tell about each other. They're really close. So yeah, you have to look at your network and really think, how can I activate this network to refer business? And one of those things is actually to look at it as, how can I make a referral process super, super easy? How can I leverage online tools? A lot of them are free to actually to arm your network with referrals. So there's two things I want to mention. There's incentive. Okay. First is incentive. And second is mechanism. So the actual delivery. So the incentive, first thing is, there was a study done a long time ago about marketing where they found that the incentive for somebody to actually do something, for something to buy, was as little as $1 off. So I think it was a grocery store chain, is when you're talking to a $10 item, $20 item, even just having $1 off would be enough to make somebody actually make a purchase. Okay. So where a coupon would work. So what I'm getting at is that even something as simple as saying thank you when somebody refers you, doing a shout out on social media, just giving recognition, you'd be surprised at how little is required for people to feel good about giving you a referral and to actually appreciate the fact that they and want to do it again, I guess you could say. So that's first. Don't think you have to give a lot to get a referral. People want to do it because they're human and they actually care about being good citizens. Okay. Number two is that if you make it as easy as either an email intro, a LinkedIn message connecting two people, that's easy, simple. Everybody can do it, right? Literally everybody can do it. But if you do something that is even a little easier, if you literally just give somebody a link, There's tons of platforms out there. I'm not even going to name names because there's just a ton. All you have to do is Google it. There's tons of platforms that you can sign up for. A lot of them have free versions that you can literally just send out a link to anybody who wants to refer business. They can share that link with their network, whether it's on their social media profile, through person to person, whatever you say, on their website. And they can literally sign up and everything gets tracked back to that person.
I like that. And that's similar to, talking about our community. We've done that for our ambassador program, right? You get a special link. And as you refer people, you can make that competitive. You can gamify that within your sales team, right? Have marketing, fire up custom referral links for your reps, and then have a contest for an entire quarter. Who can drive the most referrals, right? Using your specialized link, and gamify that with your team as a quarter objective. Or as a team lead SDR, bring that to your management, right? Spin something up, take that initiative. You posted today about going rogue, right? That's a great way to do that. Go rogue, try something, put the data together, work with ops and marketing to spin something up, and just start emailing at scale, right? And sending to those people in your open pipeline, people in your network, and allow them to just go into that link, and it takes them to a landing page where they fill out that referral information and put referred by, right? So name, email, phone number, what they might be interested in, and then referred by. And then boom, you start generating that and gamify that. Then you're at scale, getting referral business with really just doing it in your sleep. Just asking people a very generic email. Hey, if you got anybody in the network that would benefit from a relationship with Milestone or RevUp or, anything, fill out this form. We'd love to hear from them. And then boom, just send that out and you're bound to get a few low-hanging fruits from there. Especially if you're leading with open heart in your prospecting, right? And you're doing real good with your relationships. You're not a spray and pray type of rep, right? You're really putting it out there. You're going to get those people willing to do that and say, man, I had such a great experience with Jeff that, I'd love for somebody else. Because you got to remember, referrals are very interesting. Word of mouth is very important, right? People get very skeptical about where they put their name on. So if you're not giving good experiences, then they're not going to give you referrals. I don't want John to go, have a demo with XYZ company. Even though I didn't really like the process, and I know John's not either. So you know what? I'm not even going to refer him. But if you've given me a stellar experience and I've learned something regardless, then I happen to be down to give you John's name and say, you should talk with John. I think John would love to see this platform as well.
And one more thing before we wrap up for the day is also you think about it. If you are able to actually use a scalable process for referrals, something that does also motivate people to give you referrals is actually just to know that they did. So to have recognition and to show maybe a leaderboard, which is something that we do with our ambassadors program at RevLeague, is a leaderboard where we publish it and show, hey, Tom referred 5 people this week. Thank you so much, Tom. We appreciate you being on top of the leaderboard. So that again is something a really simple incentive to do that. So
100%. I think gamifying it, making it fun, push your reps to do it, push yourself out of the comfort zone, give a reason to motivate. And that gets people excited about it. Because just asking your team or you as a rep to just start asking referrals, you're going to drag your feet. So don't. So as we wrap up, thank you again for coming and listening. Couple key takeaways, right? Ask early and often in the process, activate your network internally and externally, and then learn a way to do it at scale. Google, look at some ways. There's tools out there that will allow you to automate that, and remember, give some more and incentivize them even with $1, right, to get that referral. Look forward to talking to you again next week.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Fill the Funnel podcast. If you like what you heard, be sure to hit subscribe on your favorite platform, give us reviews, and tell all your friends about us. Till next time, happy hunting.